Hello my friends, if you like my work, please remember to click thumb up, subscribe to my channel or hit the notification bell to be informed about new videos. I'd just like to say thank you to all my patrons, please join them if you can, the link is in the description below. Today's episode and the whole series will be a little different than usual. I will call it Controlled Chaos. That's all for the introduction, let's get to the point. This is another model from my collection that I bought to build a specific project. This time an old dragon about which I had a pretty good opinion until I started making this model. Well, we have here standard color box, large instruction and parts kit on grey spruce, plus rubber tracks that I'm going to use. Of course additional decals, a small photo etched plate and transparent parts. Everything is nice because it's dragon, but... Okay, before I get to complaining, a few words about my idea. Some time ago I found this photo and immediately decided that it was the perfect idea to create a small diorama. This destroyed Sherman is perfect for that. I came across the model quite quickly on the modeling market and that's how this project began. Don't be surprised that I don't show how I built this model because there's nothing to show here. Just a quick build, some photocopying, a few pieces of wire, swapping the machine gun for a metal one, and that's all. The only thing that annoyed me during the construction of this kit was the quality of the parts. Maybe I'm too used to the current standards, but what is in this model is a nasty plastic mass in some places. I realized that this model is a dozen or so years old, but as I remember Dragon was quite high in the entire stake of producers. Even with essential errors. That's why I was surprised by the quality, or rather the lack of it. But somehow I managed. I built the entire hull in one day. I did a little more work on the turret. After gluing the mounted cover, which was held in place with two rubber bands, I started to connect the two parts of the turret. It wasn't perfect, so I sanded the edges a bit. Gluing was a little easier, but it was still certain that after drying I would have to work with these surfaces. The rubber bands passed the test for the second time. After the glue dried, I started cutting off the excess with a knife and sanding with abrasive sponge. It took some time, but it was necessary to make the model look good enough. As you can see, the producer did some work, but for me it's still not enough. That's why I used VMS glue to soften the surface and additionally damage it. I know that brush bristles are not a strong tool, but here it was enough because the glue worked quite aggressively and the surface of the plastic was very soft. Leaving the turret to dry, I started to prepare the green stuff to make delicate traces of connecting the two parts of it. I put the rolled tin sausages on the surface and pressed them into the rough surface using a toothpick. Then, using a hobby knife, I cut them to the right width and, using the toothpick again, shaped them to the satisfactory appearance. Okay, my friends, if you like what I do, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click like and write a comment. This will surely be very helpful. I would like to mention my wonderful patrons who support me in what I do. Massive thanks, guys. Please don't forget that you can be one of them. It's very easy because now there is a chance to enter this superb group without pay a penny for 7 days free trial. This way you can check whether you like what I publish for my patrons or not. From technical side, you need to join for free by filling all gaps patron wants, and then you can surf on my page with no limits, watch and download all superb high resolution pictures, watch progress shots, check stories with unpublished in other media's models, read the articles and enjoy other benefits. But about the 7th day you need to decide if you stay with me or go back home. Please remember that your support is highly appreciated and helps me do what I do here at coldemonspl and what I love the most. Thanks to this, I will try to give you some interesting content to keep you informed and entertained. As if that wasn't enough, I also covered a few places with green stuff, creating irregular shapes and pressing the mass as much as possible into the surface. I used a power drill and a standard drill bit to make small marks. I ran them almost parallel to the surface, making small traces. It's best to test it yourself on some invisible part of the model. A little plastic glue is enough to align the edges. As you can see, the effect is very good and close to the real one. You can also use an ordinary skewer and carve a few scratches in the softened plastic. Same here, just wipe the edges with glue. The effect is as good as the ones made with power drill, isn't it? When the green stuff was harder, I covered it again with glue, trying to soften the plastic and unify the edges. The model is almost ready and I'm just waiting for the antenna sockets because the model doesn't have them and the picture clearly shows the antenna on the roof of the turret. Looking at the photo, I began to wonder what barrel is in this vehicle. It seems to me that there was some thickening there, but after a deeper analysis I found that I was staying at the barrel without any muzzle brake or any other element. And look at the quality of this barrel. The exit hole is rather not in the middle. It's supposed to be like this? I don't know. Without wasting any time, I started to prepare the base. I will use a frame from an old picture because it's perfect for this model. The size of the square on which I will present the model is enough to properly fix the model, make mud and put some figure or maybe even a damaged telegraph pole. But first I prepared the walls from tin balsa. A mixture of PVA glue and black CA glue is ideal for strong bonding of wooden elements. On a piece of paper I outlined the planned layout of the model and the edges of the mud and water. Let's see how it turns out in reality. Cutting in balsa is very easy, but it's also easy to damage a thin board. That's why you need to do it with sensitivity and control the work of the hobby knife. There will be a big puddle in the front of the Sherman, so the edges have to be even because I'm going to pour the resin here. I use the handle of the file to guide the knife evenly. Simple and effective solution. I also reduced the upper edges where there will be mud because after fitting the model I turned out that these walls are definitely too high. I used styrofoam to fill the base. First I hot wired the base, which perfectly filled the entire base. Then I cut smaller pieces and slowly began to fit them to the base. I glued the main elements firmly together with glue and toothpicks, and I glued the smaller pieces which build the uneven surface one by one. In this way, after applying the mat, I will have a very uneven surface. I sealed the edges with glue, especially where the resin is to appear. After putting the model, the whole thing looks pretty good. In the next episode I will paint the model and work on the base, also it will be a mix of different works. So that's all for today, see you next time, cheers!